Hey there guys, gals, and those in between. What's this? A short video? Is the world ending? Is the channel changing? No. So I talked about it in one of my earlier videos, how I want to do something shorter in between those longer videos. Commit some time to shorter form content to boost the channel and to also not anger the algorithm, the fickle mistress that she is. So think of this as something to tide you over between more longer form videos, cause yeah, that third birthday video is clocking in at just over an hour. Anyway, I want to use this time to spotlight games that I don't think I can do a full massive video on, though maybe that might change. But yeah, typically these are going to be games that are, let's be honest, kinda janky. Some might even view them as bad, but I still like them and I'm sure we all have them. There's a movie version of it, you know, the B film or the IGN 5 out of 10s that we all love. So this is that, games that are kinda bad but also kinda good, and I can think of nothing better to start this highlight reel than Blood Will Tell. God, it's so edgy, I love it. Blood Will Tell, also known as Dororo in Japan, is one of those games that it's shocking it got released and translated in the West at all. A PS2 game that was based on the famous manga Dororo, which always struck me as kind of odd because Dororo is the kid. It would be like if you cared more about Robin than Batman. The Batman here is called Hyakimaru, or Hyaki for short, and yes, his name is fun to pronounce. He was destined to destroy the demons, so to stop that, the 48 demons or fiends spoke to Hyaki's father and told him, "Give us your newborn son and we will give you everything you want to rule this land." His father does so, and the 48 demons then each take a piece of Hyaki, all of his organs, his arms, everything. He's then set adrift where he's found by a medicine man who forms a new prosthetic body, including arms that turn into swords. And oh yeah, this medicine man also invented a freaking machine gun and a cannon. This game is anime as all hell. So yeah, of course I enjoy the whole shoot demons with your gun arm idea. The story here is based on a famous manga from legend Osamu Tezuka. And I don't use that word lightly. He's been called the father of manga and made Dororo, Astro Boy, and Blackjack to name a few. Seriously, if you're a fan of any anime/manga, there's a good chance your favorite artist name drops Tezuka as an inspiration. And even people outside of mangas have talked about him like Del Toro and Kubrick. So the foundation for this game is solid. It's everything else surrounding it where your mileage will vary. First, the acting, it's Devil May Cry levels. I love it. But hamming it up and being so bad it's good isn't for everyone.
My voice. It's my own voice. I got my voice back.
Also, the actual combat is very clunky. And oh wow, this game has no lock-on feature except for a rudimentary one used for bosses. This game came out a whole generation after the Ocarina of Time. So combat is either using your swords, your guns, or your lead cannon. You can also initiate a beat-style minigame to get more drop goodies. There's also a bare bones RPG system where your swords level up, and if you fight a boss who's above your sword's levels, you're gonna do less damage. But so long as you don't run from enemies, you'll be okay, and there's really no need to grind. Once you do beat a boss, you'll get a new part of your body back. At first the game is in black and white because you have no eyes, and every body part gives you a stat boost. Some work in conjunction with one another, while other organs will be literally useless unless you have a corresponding system to work with, like a digestive tract. In the second anime series of Dororo, I really enjoyed how they showed how Hyaki perceived the world, since he didn't have eyes, but that would have been too artsy for a game, so the first stage is just in black and white where you fight the first boss. Again though, the boss fights can be really annoying with the bad camera, and while there is actually 48 fiends to fight, many are just reskins, which, well, you can't blame them in regards to the technology at the time. The unique ones are actually pretty cool, but I mostly beat them via shooting them with a cannon because I have a leg cannon, so of course I'm gonna use it. Your attacks are standard for the time, square and triangle. The higher your sword level, the more combos you can have. If you press triangle by itself, you can start this beat matching minigame that I mentioned earlier, where the more you do, the more goodies get dropped, like health and ammo for your gun and leg. However, you have to make sure you're doing it on a solo enemy because you can be attacked while you're attempting this. Overall though, the main enemies, you'll never have too much difficulty, with minus the camera making you get hits that are not your faults or by getting hit off screen. Lastly, sometimes to change things up, you can play as Dororo for brief periods of time. It's not good. They're thankfully short, but yeah, how are demons a huge problem if a literal child can just uppercut them? So you should really only bring out the big guns for those boss demons, which you also don't have to go and beat all of them. Well, you do if you want the good ending, but it's not needed. There are a few story-based demons, and the rest you have to actually go out and find. But many are pointed on the map, and it's not too difficult to track these hidden demons. Hyakimaru can literally sense them after all. Honestly, I feel like with so many games that are just regain your humanity as a central theme, heck, Dark Souls was clearly inspired by Berserk, and Miura, may he and Tezuka both rest in peace, had talked about how Tezuka was an inspiration for him to start making manga. And yeah, I can see why. And with the success of Nioh, a game where you also went around killing yokai, I feel like a retelling of Blood Would Tell would probably do decent nowadays. Heck, we've seen both a Japanese-inspired game and a puppet-based game do well after all. It has its flaws, and it's nowhere near enough to warrant the $300 price tag it has on some websites. I got my copy for $5 at a pawn shop like 10 years ago. It's clunky, you're gonna miss a lot of your attacks, you're also gonna take some hits because of how disjointed the combat is. A lot of the areas are really big for the sake of being big. You're either gonna love the voice acting or hate it. And really, its saving grace is its decent story. With all that said, I still enjoyed Blood Will Tell. It's a mess, but there's something neat between all that mess. So if you want to play as a cyborg Ronin, going around killing demons and regaining his lost limbs, well, you're gonna have to sail the high seas and give Blood Will Tell a try.